Hi everyone, it's Mimi. Welcome back to my channel. First off, I do have to apologize for my nails. I have been wearing gel nails for quite a while now, so I wanted to give my nails a break, and some of them got really damaged, and I don't even want to put any polish or anything on it, so I just wanted to put that out there. So today I wanted to share with you my Rosette butterflies. And first I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys the ones that I've already completed, and then if you would like to see how I created them, stay tuned until later on in this video, and I will share with you guys a quick tutorial on how easy it is to create these. Okay, so I made these super cute Rosette butterflies. I have made these before in the past. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. So I just used my scraps. So this is a great way to use up those pattern paper scraps that we all have. Or you can use any of your regular cardstock to create these. So I do have multiples of a lot of them. So let me just kind of grab . I love all the little sparkle that you get. I recently picked up some more of my favorite crystal stickles, and I edged each one of the butterflies with the stickles. And that part is totally optional, but since it's such a small area to work with, you can't really do a lot of decoration. And also, I wanted to ask you guys if you think I should put something in the middle of each one of these, or if I just leave it like that. So for right now, I left it plain, but I can go ahead and add like a little gem or something in the centers of these. I'm not sure yet. So I did make quite a few, and if you've seen my recent videos, I do like to do things assembly line style. That's how I'm able to make so many at one time. These measure from the widest point of the wings about almost 1 5/8, and then it's about 1 1/8 inch tall. So they're pretty teeny tiny, and if you see the little scallopy details, I'll show you one that I made years ago. This is how I normally create them, and you can see how it's pointy on the edges. It's still rounded down here, but you can see the difference. Do you see the shape is a little bit different? So let me share with you what I use to create this type of butterfly as opposed to this one. This one, you would just use a circle and a square, which is the same size. And I don't remember what this one is. I believe it might be maybe 2 inches or so. I'm not quite sure. But I had made these quite a while ago. And on the edges of this one, I used my diamond dust and then put a rhinestone in the center. So for these, I used my punches, and this way it's the easiest way for me to get each one of these, and sorry about that glare. So I used a scalloped square instead of a regular, and also a scalloped circle. So each one of these are 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches will get you this size butterfly. So let me go ahead and share with you guys what you need to do to create these. Okay, first you are going to need a square and a circle. It can be scalloped or not, but they do have to be the same size. If you don't have punches, you can use a die cut, or you can trace it out and cut it out by hand. Whatever works best for you. So I'm going to use literally some scraps. This is a Prima collection. I don't know what the name is, but I have these 2 little pieces that would probably get lost in the shuffle. I'm going to use these. So I'm going to punch out one of each. And even if you have directional paper, it really won't matter, because by the time you fold it up and create the butterfly, you can't see any of that detail. So I have one scalloped square and one scalloped circle. So next, get some wet glue. I'm using my art glitter glue that I put into this bottle. What you want to do is, the easiest way for me to do this is I take the square scallop and put it at a diagonal, and I match up this top full scallop to one of these, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. That might be too much. And then I'm going to match up, hope you guys can see this, just one of the scallops to connect them, and I hope you guys can see that. I'll show you from the back. So it's adhered right at that scallop, and it matches up to one of the scallops on the square. Okay, so let that dry for a couple minutes to make sure that they're completely adhered. Okay, next you will need some sort of scoreboard. I do recommend using a score tool that has a narrower, wow, that's hard to say, that has a narrower tip on it, only because this is so small that you don't want big fat score lines. So I always have this black line on my scoreboard, and that's just so that if I'm away from the edge, I can quickly line up other things on my scoreboard. So I'm going to take my combined piece and still laying it on its side. I'm going to eyeball the center and put that up right against that 3, and then make sure the bottom one is lined up in the middle as well. This part is a little bit tricky, so you do have to hold on pretty tightly to make sure this doesn't move. But in saying that, you really don't have to make this super perfect. You can kind of finagle it when you're accordion folding it, so don't stress too much about that. So I'm going to score this at every 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to first start at the 3 and go over that a couple times to make sure that I have a good score line. Don't press too hard, you don't want to rip the paper. And then go to 3 1/4, then 3 1/2. You do have to kind of watch out for the areas that the scallops are a little bit thin. Three 3/4. The one where it connects the two pieces together is going to be the trickiest part. So when you're scoring this, take your time. Then at 4, and then once this side is done, I'm going to go back this way. So do 2 3/4. Sometimes I have to switch hands. Like I said, this part is a little bit tricky. So that is all the scoring done. I hope you guys can see that. It's a little bit better on the back side. So now you want to take your piece and accordion fold it. So it doesn't really matter which way you start. I normally take one end and fold mountain, then valley. You just kind of want to make sure that the accordion lines up as best you can. So you don't want to have a piece that's longer or shorter. You're going to have problems at the end. Okay, so that's what it should look like. All folded up. Doesn't look like much of anything, but we're almost done already. So to close this up, or to basically bind it together, I always like to use my DMC thread, the metallic thread. I've had this forever. I know you can get this at Hobby Lobby, and I think probably Joann's and Michael's. And if you don't have this metallic thread, you can use twine or embroidery floss. Just try to use something thinner, not like a chunky yarn or anything. And this part I totally eyeball. I try to find the center as best as I can. I hold one end in my opposite hand that I'm holding this piece together, and then I'm going to start wrapping. And I do this about 8 or 9 times. And you do want to make it as tight as you can. And then take this other piece, the tail, and I keep it still on the spool. And I'm going to tie a surgeon's knot. So if you don't know what that is, it's just a regular knot. Before you tighten it up, you're going to loop it one more time. So this part is a little bit finicky. But you do want it as tight as you can so that it does not come undone. And this stuff is pretty strong. Normally, I always break my thread, and especially when I'm making pom-poms. That's always been a problem for me. I can never get it tight enough. And then I'm going to do one more surgeon's knot. The only thing I don't like about this is that it does come apart pretty easily. Like it frays. And that is enough to secure it, as long as you did it as tight as possible. So I'm going to trim off the ends. So you'll know that this is in the center once you start doing this part. So you're going to take the part that sticks out, you're going to pull down on both sides. And then see how the bottom is coming together? Then the shorter side you're going to pull up. And then this is when I know if my tie is in the middle, because a lot of times it's off, and then I'll use something like a pokey tool to kind of maneuver it to where I need it. And because there's so many layers of paper, I normally like to stick my needle tool right up against one of the folds and kind of push it in the direction that I need it, and then kind of fan the folds out. So do you see the difference from the right and the left? And then I will continue to do that. I can be quite destructive when I craft, so I do need to be careful on steps like this. Sometimes I just don't know my own strength, and then I will end up ruining something because I put a big hole in it. So there's the bottom, pretty. Then I will do the same for okay, you guys get the gist. I can play with this for hours just because I'll mess with one side and then it deflates the other side, and then just like making a bow, I can sit there and try to make a perfect bow for hours and hours. So here is the completed rosette butterfly. These are so cute. I love them. You can decorate it however you want, and actually this is the side I wanted. But do you see how even though it's directional paper, you can't tell what the words are, if the words are in the right orientation or not? I mean, unless you scrutinize it, but by the time I put stickles around the edges, nobody will notice. So these are so cute, and you can go ahead and put them on paper clips like this. All I do is adhere the front side to the top of the paper clip and then punch a little circle that will cover up the front as best as I can so that it hides it. So I hope you guys give these a try. They're so fun and they do come together pretty quickly. The scoring part, of course, is the part that takes the longest. So if you guys do make these, I'd love it if you tag me on social media, and I would love to see what you're creating. So thank you guys so much for stopping by. I will see you guys real soon in another video. Bye everyone.